Okay.
I'm good if they're good.
Welcome to the Murray City Municipal Council Committee of the Whole. And we have all committee members present except for Rosalba Domingo, who has been excused. Our first agenda item is approval of minutes. And there are two. Committee of the Whole for April 6th, 2021. Committee of the Whole for April 20th, 2021. Are there any changes or questions from the council? No.
No.
Okay, I would appreciate a motion.
Can I take them together?
Yes,
Okay.
that'd be great.
All right. I'll move that we approve both Committee of the Whole of April 6th, 2021 and April 20th, 2021.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none. Then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, everyone's in favor. So we'll continue on to the discussion items. The first one is fiscal year 2020-2021 budget amendment, and Brenda Moore will be our presenter. Hi, Brenda.
Hello. So thank you for having me here today to explain my budget opening. This one is the final one of the year. It's to clean up a few items that I actually missed when I did the budget originally, and they finally reared their ugly heads. So as I was going through, and then just a few things to make sure that we stay in compliance with the state code and with the audit at the end of the year. So we received more alcohol money than I normally budget. I budget what we've always received conservatively. So we got $7,605 more than that. So we're going to increase our revenue for that and adjust the equipment budget for the police officers if they determine that they're going to spend that this year. They usually use it for body cameras and or storage space. The big thing about cameras is they require a lot of space to store the images. So I'm also transferring, and this is something that I do just so you know, when we move items from personnel, budget items from personnel down to operations, so that you are aware that we are doing that. And I'm going to transfer $190,000 from the building division salaries down to the professional services for the building inspections. We had those open positions for quite a while. I think they've all since been filled, but we've had to use an outside service to do a lot of building inspections. So this should keep our budgets even between those two areas. And those are both in the same division, so I'm not moving money around departments or anything. The general fund, I'm going to increase our budget for our sales tax revenue by $137,850. As you know, our sales tax has definitely come in already above what we budgeted because it did not decrease like we had anticipated with the closing of the stores in the pandemic.
Well,
People
that's
shop
awesome.
from home. And given any indication by the mall parking lot, if they are actually purchasing things while they're in there,
Yeah.
we are back to the fear was people were going to continue to shop 100% from home.
Oh,
That doesn't seem to be the case. So this $137,000 we're going to use to increase the police overtime budget so that they don't run low and can do their investigations as they need to. We're going to increase IT equipment budget from $22,000. They need some additional server space due to lack of backups and having enough space. We are starting with our new Munis system. We save a lot of PDFs in there. We save, one of the things we are doing in UB billing is you can now attach all of your agreements and stuff to the account instead of having them in a file. So we're starting to do that. That uses space, needs backup space. We need a new disk drive. We are also, these are where we come down to my math errors or my slight
I can't believe you're actually human.
I know. I admit that I do make an error now and then. But IT salaries, they rearranged their personnel during the year and have a little bit more salary and realigned what they were doing with what their salary was. So I need to increase the IT salaries to recognize that reorganization by $23,000. That includes all of the benefits and taxes and everything. I just put one number in here. And then the outdoor pool, the gentleman who works there is actually a 3/4 time employee, and I budgeted him at half. So I needed to increase the outdoor pool. It has no other expenses but the cost of the chemicals and the actual maintenance for that. So there was nothing in the salaries to cover that up in that little division. So, or to use instead of in that division. So that's why that is in there. The Murray Parkway Golf Fund exchanges their scheduling, greens tee times for software to do the scheduling online. And so they give a couple tee times and they get their software for free, sort of. But in the accounting world, nothing is free. We have to recognize the revenue and the expense. So that is why that is on here. The risk fund has been busy with various cases and claims. We received, and I have since changed this today, we received a check from the insurance company for a case that was settled. And so we're going to receive $230,581 in insurance proceeds and appropriate those to professional services, which is where the corresponding expenses will be coded. And in the risk fund, I'm also going to use $380,000 from reserves, allocate $250,000 of that to professional services for a settlement of that same case, and then also allocate $130,000 for potential cases that we are in the process of settling or negotiating right now. The reserves for the risk fund is maintained at about $2.5 million. So this is, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 times our minimum, the $250,000, which is our portion of any case. So their reserves are perfectly capable of handling this kind of a use of their reserves. It will still leave them a good amount of reserves, and they will build them. They never spend everything we allocate, just like any other departments. So that is the budget opening that we're doing. Unless something drastic changes, it will come before you in 2 weeks, exactly like this, with that one change for the insurance amount of the insurance proceeds.
All right.
Any questions?
Questions for Brenda? Okay, Brenda, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on, our next discussion item is discussion on the service area boundary adjustment between Murray and Taylorsville-Benyon Improvement District. Danny, are you there?
Good evening, Council. Well,
There you
I'm
are.
actually really glad that you're still allowing us to do this Zoom, because I'm in St. George with most of the water purveyors throughout the state talking about water. So, and also this evening, we've asked the general manager of Taylorsville-Benyon and also their engineer to be with us to answer any questions. And so going forward, I'll just give you a brief history of what we're doing. So this actually started back in 2007, so it goes back quite a ways. Originally, there was a housing development proposed for the corner of 1300 West and Winchester Street, and that would be the north west corner. of that intersection, and it ended up being. We told them that because it did not reside within our city, and if they wanted our services, they would need to annex into our city. And so at that point, they went through that annexation process, but none of the boundary changes were done at that time between us and Taylorsville-Benyon. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit to 2016. Another development was planned for the other corner, so the southwest corner of 1300 West and Winchester Street. That one was proposed, and we felt at the time we needed to model our water system just to see if we could actually maintain the correct water pressures for not only drinking water, but also for safety reasons, for fire hydrants and things like that. When we came back from our modeling, what we found out is that the city, without a significant investment down on Winchester Street, below the subdivision, we could not provide adequate service pressures to their taps or fire suppression services as well. So we felt at the time that it would be in the best interest of all of the parties if we would reach out to Taylorsville-Benyon and talk to them about them providing that portion of the services. After talking with them, they ultimately agreed to that, and then that project moved forward. So that's what brings us here today, because one of the things that we wanted to do is we told them, yes, we would work with them to adjust their boundaries, but for one reason or another, that never did get accomplished. And so that's what we're doing today is Taylorsville-Benyon has reached out to me, reached out to the city and said, can we move forward with making these changes in our service boundaries? Now, I'm going to, if I can, share my screen so that you can have a idea of what we're talking about. It is in the packet that you have. I'm assuming that you can see that map.
We can see it.
Okay.
Hey, Danny.
Okay, so
Danny, if I could
pardon me.
just to interrupt you for just a second. Now that you've got
Sure.
the map up there, you can see for clarification, Danny did mention that it was the northwest and the southwest corners of the intersection, but it's really the northeast and southeast.
So, yeah, east, sorry. Hey, I'm down here in St. George, so I'm confused. Okay, so if you take a look at that map, you can see there's a white line that goes around it. That is the current city boundaries as they stand at this moment, and nothing will change. The only thing that changes is the service boundary. So currently, Taylorsville's boundary is where the yellow line is. That's the current boundary that they show for them. What needs to be done is the red and white line that goes through there. That would be the new boundary where Taylorsville-Benyon will need to, as part of what we're doing, is that line, it will be the new boundary. But again, nothing changes as far as the city boundary is concerned. So I just wanted to make that clear if there's any questions on that map. So did somebody have a question? Okay.
I don't think
So,
so. I think we're
As
good.
part of Taylorsville's financial structure, they do charge a property tax increment to those that they serve, as well as Jordan Valley, because they are part of Jordan Valley's district as well. But Taylorsville-Benyon provides both water and wastewater service, very similar to what Murray City does. However, they only receive this a single tax increment for both those services, and then they once they receive it, they apportion that to each of their services that they have. In this case, Murray City still provides. So we're talking about the area that's in the green, because the area in the red, Murray City provides all of the services, both water and wastewater. So hopefully that's clear. But in the green area, Murray provides the wastewater services, and Taylorsville-Benyon provides the water. And so that's what we're talking about. And so so one of the things that in this case, these properties, Taylorsville-Benyon has come up with a plan to appropriately treat that tax increment and how to make sure that our citizens are being treated appropriately. And so I've asked Mark Chalk, he's the general manager, to kind of explain to the council their plan to make sure that how that's going to work. So Mark, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Danny. I'm also joining you from down here in St. George, so hopefully I'm coming through okay. But yeah, so we as we sat down and looked at all of our boundaries all around, they're all very similar to this, where we have several properties inside and outside of our service area that we serve or don't serve. So we're trying to clean up our boundary with all of our kind of sister entities around us. And as a part of that, at times there is this situation where we do only provide water or sewer service to these customers. When that is the case, such as here, as Danny has mentioned here in the green area, what we would like to do is, as he mentioned, we only have one tax that we levy. And so we would take half of that tax and we would credit it back to those customers every year. So every year they'd be on the tax rolls of the district because they would be within our district boundaries. But our intent would be to then give half of that back to those that paid directly to the customer. So that's our plan. That's what we have spelled out in the interlocal agreement that will be in association with these changes. And that would be our intent to do it that way.
So are there any questions that the council has for Mark?
Any questions? No? Good job, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much.
So to formalize our common service boundaries, we're providing in the packet, you have a copy of that resolution and the map describing the areas for your review. And later this evening in the council meeting, we're going to ask you to approve that resolution. And then going forward, there's a waiting period based on state code of a period of time. And so that meeting is set for July 20th for a public hearing. And in the meantime, Taylorsville-Benyon is putting out notices to the affected properties, and so they can weigh in on their concerns if there are any. So just so that you know that there is a public process going forward. So with that, if you have any other questions, we'd like to answer those. Otherwise, that's our presentation this evening.
Any questions? Nope, we're all good. Thank you, Danny.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Enjoy St. George.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good weather. Thank you.
It's good weather here, too.
Good.
Okay, now we're at announcements. Jennifer, do we have any announcements?
Don't.
Okay, no announcements, so we will adjourn. Thanks.